Okay, so what kind of website is this? This is called in web technologies or in web industry, it's called a portal, a web portal, because it's a doorway into many different things. You notice you can get to your Yahoo Mail, that's a separate entity. You can go to news, you can go to finance, you can go to sports, entertainment, live. This category was added in 2020, and then shopping and tech tips and blah, 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 and more, right? Now, if you go to more, look at, this is Yahoo. This is enormous, right? All of these websites are under the umbrella of Yahoo. And so that's why Yahoo is not one thing, Yahoo is many things. So if I go to news, okay, this is the look and feel of the news. If I go to world, okay, if I go to COVID, if I go to climate change, if I go to originals, okay, can you still tell that I'm on Yahoo? Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what they kept across the board, okay? Who is the biggest competitor of Yahoo?
Google.
No.
Um,
Because Google is a search engine.
Mm.
Google doesn't compete directly with Yahoo. Google and Yahoo search engines compete. You see the point? Okay. Search engine is one of the services of Yahoo. The search engine of Yahoo is in competition with Google search engine. Okay. What is the name of Microsoft search engine?
MSN.
No.
Edge.
No. Edge is the browser.
Oh.
Bing. Bing.
Oh, I forgot it existed.
Right?
Most people do.
Bing is the search engine from Microsoft. That's a competitor of Google, but not Yahoo. Why? Because many years ago, Yahoo and Microsoft decided to join hands against Google. They have similar algorithms that work for both of them. They both use very similar algorithm because behind the scene, it's one algorithm. And they're both competing against Google. You get exactly the same results if you search on Yahoo or Bing. It's just a matter of choice. They both know nobody uses them as much as those people who are still on yahoo.com mail account. They are the people that would still use Yahoo, exactly the kind of people who still own AOL.com email account. Right? So Yahoo and MSN are competitors, because if you go to MSN, that has a similar look and feel as Yahoo, right? So it's a collection of services. The moment you go to the mail, you get redirected to Outlook. The moment you go to, and see how they're promoting their browsers? Okay, so, and then the moment you go away to some of the other things like news, entertainment, money, sports, anywhere you go, you can see that you are still on MSN. You are looking at something that is part of MSN. So they always want you to have that look and feel. They may change a few things around, but they want you to feel like that you are still on the same site. So that's one thing to keep in mind when you guys are developing your sites, that all the pages on your site must have the same look and feel. You shouldn't go pink on one page and blue on another page and brown on the third page and red on the fourth page. In one page, the navigation is at the top, another page is on the side, and the third page is on the right. The fourth page, there is no navigation. You can't have a site like that. A website needs to have a flow. Okay, so make sense, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So now, I think the only person missing is Christian.
I am here now.
Oh, Christian is here. Okay, Christian. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good,
Good.
good. We missed you yesterday. I sent you an email in Java class.
Okay, sorry. I for some reason thought it was on Friday.
What?
Yeah.
Keep checking the syllabus. And anyway, the class recording is available. I made it available this afternoon, so you should be able to go back and listen to the class recording. We did chapters 5, 6, and most of 7.
Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
I'm
Thank
going.
you.
I'm going slow pace. I'm only doing 3 chapters a night. That's it.
Okay.
All right, Barry Allen.
Thank you.
Okay, so today our focus is to finish tutorials 3, 4, 5. So we're going to be looking at tutorial 3 the first hour, and around 7:30 we'll look at 4. So how many tutorials do you guys do every class?
1.
I think we do 1.
I'm just kidding, guys. Come on.
Yeah, I
I've been
figured
doing
because they were separated by week.
Yeah, I'm only doing tutorial 3. So let me open the book so that we can go over some of the concepts, and then we will dive into the examples. So let me open tutorial number 3, and that is the first tutorial in the level 2 tutorials. So tutorial number 3 is where the author will teach you how to go about designing a page layout. So he starts out with some bare bone example, and he starts working with that example and starts building it from scratch. So the whole idea is to create a reset style sheet. Now, what is a reset style sheet? It is possible for your website to have multiple style sheets, and the order in which you add the style sheets define the order in which they kick in. So if you have like 3 style sheets, the first one will first do its job, then the second one will do its job. So if second one has the same property as the first one, the second one's property will supersede because it runs second. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so when you have a reset style sheet, the reset style sheet you want to always keep as your first style sheet. That resets your entire page or site. And then the second style sheet will start working on top of how you resetted the entire page. So that's where the author then looks into how do you go about working with different elements, creating floating elements, but how to center a block element, how to clear floating, how to create grid-based layouts, how to format those grids, how to work with positioning, relative and absolute. Also, to make sure that you create flex site versus fixed sites. Fixed sites are those sites, for example, let me take you back to yahoo.com. Okay, yahoo.com. It doesn't matter if I'm looking at this on a 32-inch monitor or a 14-inch monitor, this area will stay the same. Okay, let me do this. Okay, so this area stays the same. That's fixed. Okay, what changes is this guy. This bar will go wider and wider. Okay, so this top bar may go a little bit wider on large screens and will not go that wide on short screen. Okay, so for example, look at this. That makes sense? What it does? So if I increase, notice that centerpiece stays the same, but the top piece keeps expanding. Okay, right now you're looking at this website on a 29-inch monitor. That's why it looks maybe a little bit more wider than if you open up on your screens. I don't know how large of screens you have. Has any one of you experienced those 50-inch monitors, like those curved ones?
Seen them, I don't own any.
Okay, you know,
My buddy has like I think it's like a 35 or 36-inch curved monitor he uses for his simulation rig.
No, I'm kind of wondering, those kind of monitors, if you're teaching on those monitors, you could actually share your middle window, while on the side windows you could have, right now I have different height and different width monitors that I'm looking at. I've 4 monitors and they all are different sizes.
So I believe he has the ability to kind of like how we can hit, press windows and left or right and move the window equally to one side or the other. I think
Yeah.
it's split into 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, one of the main reasons I got a 29-inch many years ago, it's an old monitor, is so that I could split it into 2 nice size windows. And if I am reading books, so what basically my intention was to open one PDF in the middle and one PDF to the right, and to make my notes on the left. Or when I'm comparing 2 books, I could run them side by side. So that was my main intention of getting a 29-inch. I have not fully used it for 3 screens because it gets really squished. But for 2, it works great. For 2 windows open side by side, it works awesome. Anyway, so that's what it is that we'll be looking at. So the tutorial number 3 is, these are the files. Now, so how do you guys typically work with these tutorials? Like, does Wendy provide you with all the files, or do you guys have all the files?
The files are in the tutorial folder on Blackboard.
Okay, so right now I am inside tutorial 3.
It's the
Oh, this
download.
one.
Yeah.
Aha, okay. Okay, so that's the one. Cool. Okay, here we go. These are all the files that we will be working with. Now you can see here, let me go into large icons, okay? Extra large icons, okay. You can see over here that there are some images, lots of images rather. There are some gear-like items. Those gear-like items are your CSS documents. And then you have some HTML pages. Okay, so how many HTML pages we have? About, home, and info. We have 3 HTML pages, and we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 CSS pages. Wow, a lot of them, right? Now, the thing is this, that we will not be using the same CSS in all pages, all 3 pages. Some pages will use one CSS, some pages will use a different CSS, but the whole idea is to go about putting this example together, okay? So once you have this example downloaded, I will tell you when to open which file. Let's not worry about that right now. Oops. Okay. One second. Okay, so I was just downloading and setting up. So, okay, so I will, I mean, I could use any editor. You guys could use a different editor. Which editors do you guys use typically?
She recommended us use Notebook++.
Notepad++?
Or
Okay.
Notepad, yeah.
Ah, okay. So anyway, so let's get to the next page where we talk about, this is basically your final result, what you will be looking at for that first page, the main page, okay? Right now, if you open your very first page, which is, let's say if we open about page, for example. That's how it looks like right now for you guys,
Yep.
right? Okay. Hold on a second. And the home page, when you view it, that's how it looks like, you know, none of these pictures are nicely aligned. They're all a little messed up. Okay. So this is the very first page, which is an about page, and this is your home page. And now if we were to look at the info page, that's how the info page looks like right now. It is far more structured, right? However, we have to look at the different elements of the pages as to what features affect what areas and how the pages will look like eventually, okay? So now, before we get started, what I want you to do is go to your go to your about page, and these 3 lines, okay, I want you to comment all the way through just like that, okay? So your comment is starting from line 4 on the about page, comment all the way down to line 20. And after that, refresh the about page. That's how originally the about page looks like, without any CSS. Now, did everybody get to see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's look at different portions of reset as to how it is changing things on the about page. But before we do that, we need to understand the page structure. If I scroll down on the about page, it has a body tag. The body tag has a child header. So body has one child header. Body has another child division, another child division, and another child division, and another child division. So it has several division children. The header has a child image, and that's where you get to see the image on the page, which is this guy at the top. Okay. And then followed by the navigation. The navigation has been given a class called horizontal navigation. But the horizontal navigation is lacking any properties because we commented out all the CSS, followed by a division called a class row, which has about Panacea chocolates, followed by another division, which has a class called row, and it is defining our company and about chocolate at 2 levels. And then about chocolate has several other paragraphs underneath it. And then towards the bottom, it has FAQs, frequently asked questions, followed by a division called row, but it has a footer that displays all rights reserved, copyright 2017. Okay. This is the basic page structure. Now, let's go to the reset. Right now, what does your reset page has? Bunch of tags, right? But no properties, correct?
Correct.
Right, okay. Now let's go to the about page. And I want you to move your comment above the reset, sorry, above the meta, okay? But I want you to comment the grids and the styles. Comment the grids and the styles too. Those two CSS we want to comment for now, so that we don't get to see their effect. Styles 2 has some properties already done for you guys. And I believe grids, I don't know if grids has anything in it, but let me open grids. No, grids is empty. Okay, so we're going to be building that. Okay. So let's concentrate on reset for now. Okay, so let's refresh. Okay, that's how the page looks like with the reset on. The reset.css is not in a comment anymore. And this page looks like this. Okay. In the reset, all the tags are given to you. Then whatever I will do, this will apply to all these tags. There is a property called display block. What does this property do? Anybody knows what display block does? It gives each of your tags that you have listed above the property of a new paragraph. So nobody else can come on the same line with them. That's what the display block. So we are changing all the tags to be like paragraphs. All of these tags that are listed above. Okay. Now we will start to work with the navigation. Oh, my bad. This should go under here, not here. Display block. There you go. Okay. All of these guys are display block, not the typographics. Okay. Now let's work with the typographics tag. If I say all typographics to have a font size of 100%, notice all the headings, which were H1 size, are now reduced to 100% of the default font size, whatever it is, 11 points, 12 points, whatever it is. Just everything gets reduced to 100% of the font size of the normal font style.
So I had a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
So for, I know that I just actually hopped on to Visual Studio Code. Is this all that we've done, just the display block and the font size?
Correct.
Okay, just making sure. Thank you.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. So now, if I set the margin to 0, what does the margin do? Margin is the outside area of a content. That's the margin. Outside of the border. Okay. What is the extra space inside the border? That's called padding. I'm going to set the padding to 0. Okay, they'll further bring people closer to each other. Okay, especially the navigation. Again, this is a reset page. We are resetting all the HTML properties to the bare basics. Okay. Now, before we move any further, let me talk about one more concept here. Let me get to the right page in the book. I work better with paper-based books than the ebooks.
So for the padding, we don't have to put PX after the 0 or anything?
No, you don't need to.
No, okay.
You can. It's up to you. Page 191. Let's see if that's the same page in the book as well as the ebook.
You have to type in HTML and the number.
I have to type HTML and then followed by the number. Oh,
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why it does that.
It's because this book is separated into different sections that are HTML. I think it's CSS and maybe JSON. I don't remember.
Oh, does it say?
exactly.
Oh, does it separate it in different areas?
oh, I see. Oh, because it's a combination of 3 separate books.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think they do sell HTML5, CSS3, and JavaScript to be separate. Okay, makes sense. Okay, so what I wanted to get next to is in CSS, you have a concept of content box model and a border box model. These are 2 different boxing models that you can create to put your items in a container. Okay, so when you use a content box model and you say, okay, content box model, my width is 200, my padding is 10, my margin is 5, or whatever, you know, I mean, like, let's have a look at that. Okay, so my content is 200, my padding is 10, and my border is 5. When you say that, and your model is content box model, then the width of 200 is only given to the text. On top of that, when you say padding 10, it leaves 10 on left and 10 on right. And when you say border 5 pixels, it creates a border of 5 pixels on the left and border of 5 pixels on the right. So the whole container actually is 230 pixels. On the contrary, if you use a border box model and you say my width is 200 and my padding is 10 and my border is 5, the total width is 200. It will subtract the 10 for border and 20 for padding, and 170 will be given to the content. Did everybody understand the difference?
Mhm.
Okay, now you can give the box sizing property, right? And give it a type, whatever type you want. And to make it more browser compliant, you can have WebKit box sizing and Mozilla box sizing, and then a general purpose box sizing property. Okay, so your box sizing, we are using in this tutorial border box. So these 3 lines is basically what you will put right here after you are done typing padding 0. These 3 lines. Right here. So again, we are just resetting the properties so that the page knows what kind of boxing we will be using. By default, the UL, which is one of the tags, uses LI as to list the items. UL is unordered list. So it gives 1, 2, 3, 4 for ordered list and bullet points for unordered list. But if you want to get rid of any kind of ordering, you can say my list style is none. And my list style image is also none, because in CSS, you can give images also. By default, in HTML, all links are blue color if they're not visited, purplish if they're visited, and they have an underline under them. But through CSS, you can say, well, you know what? I do not want any underline. So I want text decoration to be none. And I want each one of the lines in my body to be of line height 1. So some minor changes will squish things down. And as you can see on your links, the underlines have vanished, have disappeared, right? Please give me a thumbs up when you guys are done with these properties and have also refreshed the page.
So this is for the about page, right?
Correct. Correct. Okay, cool. Awesome. Now let's switch back to PC styles.css, PC styles 2.css. Okay. You guys might have learned a lot of this CSS in tutorial number 2. That's why on this page, most of the job is already done for you guys. So because there is no point of doing again the same thing that you guys already have done. Right. So I think almost everything is done here, but let's review some of that stuff here. What is the purpose of lines 3 through 7?
To set up a font for when people visit the site.
Exactly, because the font is not a very common font. So you can't be sure that people will have it on their computer. So you want to load the file on the web server and the font will go with the page. Cool. Okay. Line 23, what does that do?
Changes the background color.
Cool. Okay. What does lines 28 and 29 do?
Sets the margin for the left and right.
But what does that do?
Makes it so that the text is centered properly.
Very good. Very good. So it center aligns, leaves the same amount of space on the left as it leaves on the right. Very good. And all of that happens within the 95% of the width of the page. Okay, if you leave it there, then on 29-inch monitor, it will be 95% of the 29-inch monitor. We don't want to do that. So we are setting the max width to 960, and we're setting the min width to 640. So if the screen is as small as 640 pixels wide, the page will still be displayed without a scroll bar. As soon as it goes below 640, then you'll get a scroll bar. Okay. Then you have a background color and fonts. Okay. Then you have the body. What does that greater than sign means?
Isn't it parent of?
Body, direct parent of header, which is a direct parent of navigation, with a direct parent of image. Image. I want all the images within the header only to be blocked with a size of 100% width. So it'll be like boom, boom. It's going to expand like that. Okay. Then I want all the navigation list items, which are home, online stores, and all of that, to only take up 20% of the space. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? What is 20 times 5?
100.
100. So that takes up 100% of the 100% of what width? 100% of the 95% within this range. Okay, so everything is now contextual to the body. Okay, so that's why it's very important to understand that. Okay, now display block. Okay, do you guys know what float left does?
That's a new one.
Okay, this is what float left does. If the float left was not there, all the tags, even though they are only 20%, will appear one on each line. So what float left does, it says, if you have taken up 20% of the line, you still have 80% of the line space remaining. Let somebody else come in. Okay, then that guy says, oh, I still have 60% left. Let the next person come in. And that says, let the next person come in. So float left allow you to float multiple items on the same line, and left is just the positioning. So it will be floating to the left of the item that's coming in. Okay.
So where would the things go if you didn't have it?
All of them will be stacked like you see over here. Home, online, my account, special content. All of them will occupy
okay.
one. Each one of them will be on a line of its own versus sharing the same line.
Okay.
Okay. And then the anchor tag on line 55, these will be the properties: background color, a font family, font size, and the whole 9 yards. Okay. Then link and visited. Doesn't matter. This will be the color. Hover. What is hover?
If you hover over it with your mouse.
Hover over with the mouse, right? Or if the link is active, means when you click and you're pressing and holding the click, this will be the color. Okay. Then if it is H1 or H2 or H3, for all three of them, the indentation will be 1 EM. What is EM?
Is that similar to DP on Android?
Okay, I'll explain and then you tell me if it is the same. EM is called a relative font size versus absolute font size. So EM will be in the current font, whatever you picked, whatever is the size of the letter M. So 100% of that size is 1 EM means 100%. If you do 1.5 EM, that means 150% of the size of the letter M in the current font. Is that what the DP does in Android?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, okay. Then as you can see over here in H1, font size, 240% of the line height, 240%, and the other properties that you probably have seen in tutorial 2. For H2 and H3, want to have different font family than H1. H2 has some other properties which are not to be shared with H3. That's why they're listed separate. and H3 has one property that is different from H2, so it's listed separate. Then comes the paragraph styling. All the paragraphs on the page will have a margin of 1 EM and a font size of 0.9 EM. That means 90% of the default font size. Images will be 100% block. A side. What is A side? That's where the FAQs is. That's your A side. A side will have a different background color, will have its own padding and margin. A side has a heading, which is FAQ, will be aligned center, will have its own background color and a color. And all of these items, you see the questions and the answers. Do you guys remember from chapter 1 that we have another list called DL, which is mainly used for definitions?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So DL has two children, DT and DD. DT is for the term and DD is for the description. So the properties of DTs are black 1 EM cursive, and for DD, the properties are, here you can see that, okay? Okay. What do you guys think? What's going on here next to the margin on line 148? Why
Doing-
4 numbers?
Left, right, or top, bottom, left, and right.
Very good. So it go, no, it's not top, bottom, left, right. It goes clockwise. Top, right, bottom, left. Okay. It always goes clockwise. So the top and the bottom are 0 and left and right are 1. Okay. What if there are 3 numbers instead of 4? Then what happens?
Top, bottom, and then they share.
Top is the first one, middle one will be left and right, and the last one will be for the bottom, right? If there are only 2 numbers, then the first one will be for top, bottom, the second one will be for right and left. If there's only 1 number, that means all 4 will have the same number. Okay, then we have a color, and we have a font family, and then we have properties for the footer. Okay, let's go back to the about page, and let's comment only the grids and uncomment the PC styles. And this is what the page looks like. A huge change, right? A big change. We will come back to grid later on, not right now. Let's go to home. Can you please open home? And let's comment out on the home. We already have seen what the reset looks like. Let's comment out on the home the last 2 style sheets. The styles 1 and the home.css.
I really just like the way they make comments in this.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Okay, now that you are on the home, notice this is how the home looks like. Only the reset is applied this far and no styling. Let's go to styles1.css. Okay. I want you to go over this one yourself. It's very similar to the styles 2, but I want you to first study the home page to see what tags are there, and then likewise match it with the tags with properties in styles1.css. And don't give me a thumbs up, give me a green check when you guys are done, because thumbs up disappears.
You just want us to look through it?
Yeah, just look through it. And when you are done looking through it, then uncomment only the styles 1 but leave the home still commented. I just want you to be able to understand what's going on. Except for Jake, everybody else got it?
Just
Okay, everybody got it. Okay, cool. Okay, so were you able to remove the comment and see how it is?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Okay. So let me do that, the same thing. Let me go to the home and let me remove the comment from, oops. Okay, but the pictures are not up to par and everything else doesn't look that great. And the navigation is all messed up also, right? Okay. That's how everybody sees that.
Mhm.
Now let's go to okay, the home.css, and we'll start to make some changes. How can I center align the whole page, the whole body?
auto margin auto.
Okay. So if I refresh here, nothing is happening. Why? Because the other properties are not in place.
Do we
Okay,
have to put
let's-
it into a block?
Let me set my width of 95%. Max width 960 pixels. Min width, oops, misspelled. It was 640 pixels. And display to be block. Oops. The styles one. One second. Okay, let me add one more property here. What's going on? Why is it not taking up these properties?
Did we not uncomment it?
Oh, you're absolutely right. I did
just
not
checking that.
uncommented that. Thank you. Yes. Like, what's going on? Okay. Thank you. So that should fix the problem. Here we go. Okay. Okay. So we have this to be auto margin and 95% of the width, max and min, display block for the picture. That's why it comes up over here 100%. Otherwise, the picture was not coming up 100%. And each one of the LIs to be 20%. So they're all 20%. But again, they need to be display block and floating left to allow each other to come next to just like that. So now they are coming next to each other because they have a floating left property turned on. So that's basically, still, they're not covering up the entire background. So is everybody done this far?
Yep.
So the display block and float left allowed them to come next to each other. And now for each one of the anchor tags, if I make it a block, notice how they all are next to each other, okay? And the entire area is filled because anchor is now a block. And we want to text align the text in the center of that block, even though I'm not going to make any difference because it's already center aligned. Okay. After that, our focus will be on the section tag. So if you guys go back to your home.html, you will see that section tag, there are two of them. One is called left column. That's where you see this paragraph. And the other one you see right column, that's where you see all these pictures, right? And then except for the first picture, all other pictures are inside a navigation, which is known by the class horizontal navigation, followed by the footer, which has all this extra information that you see. The footer has its own navigation, which is all this navigation that you see over here in the corner, okay, followed by all that information. So the whole page is not structured right yet. And that's what we will be working on in the CSS document. So let's first work on the left column. So since the navigation is already floating, we want to first of all clear the left float, which is coming from the navigation, because the left column is right after the navigation. So we want to clear all the floating. Once we clear all the floating, we can now say, okay, I want it to start its own floating. So you're pretty much resetting your floating so that it is not floating with navigation. It is now starting its own floating. It is floating such that it has its own padding and it has its own width. Okay. Now it's simple mathematics. If I want to produce two columns, left and right, if left column is 33%, what should be the right column?
67.
67. Okay. Two things to keep in mind. First of all, you need the right column to float left. The second thing is that you want it to occupy the remaining percent. Okay. So now look at the output. Some basic minor changes can have awesome changes on the page. So give me a thumbs up if you guys are caught up this far. Okay, I see only one person is still. Christian, are you behind or are you with us?
I'm here. I have to do the right column still.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Give me a thumbs up when you are done with the right column and have also seen the output.
Sounds good.
Cool. In the meanwhile, let me ask you this question. If I want my image, the very first image in the right column, to take up the entire space on that line, even this extra space that it has, what should it do to not let anybody come on the same line? So that the entire line is to that image. When you want to occupy the whole line, remember, you got to do what? Display what? Block. Okay. And when you want to occupy the whole space to yourself, then you can just set it to 100% width. So now nobody can come on that line and the image can go 100%. If you don't set 100%, then we'll have a line to itself, but the line will still have empty space. So that will fill up that space. Okay, how many pictures are remaining?
4.
Four. Okay. If I want all 4 pictures, and all 4 pictures, if you are looking at your HTML code, all 4 pictures are, what's that? Okay, all 4 pictures are inside a UL, right? And they all have the same class called photo link. And they're all inside LI. So they are sharing a lot of the stuff. They're a little bit different from that first picture. So if I give properties to the right column, navigation, horizontal navigation, LI, over here, that means I am talking about specifically these guys, because they are the only one under right column, horizontal navigation, UL, LI. Okay, I want all 4 pictures to be on the same line. What should be their width? That they will all be on the same line and will take over the entire line.
25%.
25%. Very good. So each one of them will have a width of 25%. And here you go. They're all nicely aligned in the same line. Once we set up this area of the page, our focus will then be on the navigation, which is in the footer of the page. The navigation in the footer of the page. So I want to give my footer some kind of a background color, and that's the background color I want to give to my footer. Okay, so that's my footer's background color. However, when you do that, did you notice that the background color is not on the footer alone, right? The background color also is in the left column. So try it and then let me know when you are done trying it. Okay, and do you guys know why is that the case? Why the background that you're applying in the footer is getting applied to the left column? The answer is left column and right column are floating, right? And when they're floating, even though there is no more space left over after the right column fills up the entire 67%, but to the browser, footer is still part of the float. Even though it's not taking up any space in the float, it's still waiting. Even if the right column frees up 2%, it will try to squeeze in that footer there. So we need to tell You know what, guys?
Clear it.
Clear it. Very good. Clear it, and that will take care of the problem. Here you go. Okay. We'll come back to the after part afterwards. We will just fill up the other stuff, okay? In the
There-
navigation, yeah.
No way we can scroll up really quick because my store is still higher than yours.
How far up?
Further up the next, that's all the same. Probably just above the horizontal navigation style. Left, 1.5. 20. Huh. Yeah, it's all the same.
Okay, when did you started having different output than me?
Ooh, you know what? I just refreshed and now it's fixed. It is
Oh.
backwards from yours though.
What do you mean?
Like, my images are on the left under the home screen. Yours are on the right-hand side.
Check your column properties to see if they match mine. Did you make sure that your left column is cleared?
Yep,
And then you had the left column floating,
Yep.
33%,
yep,
and then the right column left,
yep,
and then 67%.
yep.
And then you have your right column image with these two
Yep.
properties,
Uh-huh.
25% for the remaining pictures.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and your footer is also clear left.
Yes.
Okay, now let's scroll back up. Does your navigation LI has a float left?
Yes.
Okay, and okay, so you said everything. Okay, how about I will let you share your screen and let me look through your code to see maybe, you know, slight mistake here and there can have some drastic changes.
Okay.
Okay, just 1 second. Can I see your output for a minute, please? Can you refresh it again for me, please? Okay, cool. Go back to your source. Okay, so looks like something is off between left and right column. So can you scroll down just a little bit? Okay, that's it. That's good. So left column is clear. If you reduce your left column to, let's say, 25%, does it make any difference? Okay, now go back to your source and make that 32%. Huh, okay, go back to your source. Why is it? Okay, what percent? Why is it doing that? Go 28. Okay. And try 29. Why is it 4% off or 5% off? Where's the 5% going? Can you change that back to 28? Save the change, scroll back up to the top. Auto. 425. Change line 20 to 100%. And then change a line number, yeah, that to 33. No, makes no difference. Okay, go back to your source code and undo the two changes. Just hit Control Z. Control Z, yeah, okay. So margin auto is 960, 640. We didn't make any changes to the styles one, right?
I don't think so.
No, no, it is exactly the way
Yeah.
it should be. We didn't make any changes to style one. We didn't make changes to reset either.
Actually, can I see your reset? You misspelled border box. In box side.
Oh, line 33.
Oh,
BORDER. Okay, just get rid of that extra A. No, that's fine. Border. Oops.
And it's on all three.
yeah. That's that phonetic spelling coming out.
Okay,
You
can
also
you
got an
Yep.
extra period on one of them now.
line 33, get rid of the extra period. Line 33 after the word border. Yep. Thank you.
All right, so we'll go back here.
Go, yeah, make it 33.
Ah,
That's it. Yeah, because you were not using border box, it was using
I
the,
was using,
the container box. So that 33, that 5% that we were leaving out was getting used that way. Yeah, that was a good catch, guys. Okay. Cool so far? So now let's scroll down to that vertical navigation that we have at the bottom going on, right? Okay, let's see if I do it float left. Okay, the vertical navigation. Notice how it is floating left of each other. How many columns are there, by the way?
Four.
four.
Okay, but vertical navigation, how many vertical navigations are there? In the vertical navigation,
9 total.
so we have one vertical navigation, we have two vertical navigation, and we have three vertical navigation, right? The fourth one, the contact info is a section, not a vertical navigation. So we have three vertical navigations, right? Everybody see that? Okay, so if I say that my vertical navigation, I want you to only occupy 22%. So that's 22% times 3. What is that?
66.
66. Okay, so
Pretty
20,
good.
22% is each one of them. How much is remaining?
I'm gonna grab you on.
33.
34.
Or 34.
34. Okay, now something awful is happening as soon as you do that. When you do float left with 34%, something awful happened. What awful thing happened? Footer lost all of its background. Even though the spacing is correct, but something weird happened. And that book also explains you why it happens. It basically happens because it collapsed. And let me get to the right page in the book to talk about when the containers collapse so that we can look at how we can uncollapse them. Okay, this is basically what happened, what you see at the top of this image, okay? Since that section is the last one and there isn't anything after it, the whole container that just collapses because it cannot float anymore. So how can we make sure that the container expanded to enclose all the floating items is to create an empty container. That's why we have this empty footer here. So like empty container in the footer. We're saying footer, why don't you put something right after the very last item you got? That's why it says after everything is done. First of all, it will make sure that all the floatings are clear. Then we will change its content to nothing because the double quotes with no space. And its display will be table. I think somebody's microphone is on.
Well, that's probably mine.
Okay. So after that change, when you refresh, you get your colors back. So when all the elements in a container are floating, there is no content left. So as a result, what happens is that the entire container collapses. So this is how the browser is thinking. When the entire container has no more items left, then the browser is kind of thinking that container is empty. So when container is empty, it just inherits all the properties from the container's parent. That's why all of the colors of the body came in and the footer lost everything that it was giving. So all the properties are now adjusted fine. Was there any after in any one of the other CSS that we did?
Doesn't look like it.
No, right?
Mm-mm.
No, okay. Okay, cool. So for the PC home, we did complete the home CSS. Styles was done for us. Reset we did earlier on. So home.html is complete. About.html is not complete because we still did not do the grids.css. And then we have one more HTML page, which is PC info, which also has a reset and a PC styles 3 and then PC info.css. So what I would like you to do now is to open pcinfo.html and let's comment out the bottom two CSS. Okay, and that's how it will appear now, just like that. Okay. Then I want you to read the page so that you know the tags on the page. And then open the PC styles 3.css and study that, and then turn it on to see what impact it does. So again, give me a check mark when you guys are done with this activity.
What are we doing again for this activity?
You are in the pcinfo.html. And in the pcinfo.html, you will comment out the bottom two CSS, which is PC3 and pcinfo.css, styles 3 and info. Once you comment out, you will save the changes. You will refresh the page. This is how it looks like after the two CSS are disabled, the bottom two. Then you go to the PC styles 3.css and you study it as to which tags in the PC info are getting what properties in the styles 3. And you try to study back and forth the HTML and the CSS. Once you do that, you uncomment only the PC styles 3.css to see the impact. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, except for Victor, everybody had a chance to do this? Victor, let me know when you are done with this.
I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. So what I ask you to do is uncomment. Oops. Yeah. Uncomment the styles 3. So that's how it looks like right now. Okay. In the styles3.css, you will see that we are working a lot with the pictures. And how are the pictures placed and where are the pictures placed? So you will see that all the pictures are placed inside a division, and each division has a separate ID, like info 1, info 2, info 3, all the way through info 8. Some divisions have more text, some divisions have less text, but they all have some text in a picture. So what we are doing in styles 3 is we are going to the info box, which is the class that is commonly shared between all the images. And we are saying to the info box that this is the property for the image and this is the property for the paragraph. So all the paragraphs and images share the property. And then we go to each one of the IDs for each one of the infos, which is info 1, info 2, info 3, those IDs, and we give them specific percentages or colors and things like that. As a result, we get to see what we get to see here. Again, the page is not perfectly done. This is just the output of the info styles 3. Any questions this far? No questions? Everybody's all good? Okay. How about we take a break here till 7:30? Okay. And we will resume at 7:30, completing this example. And then, I mean, like this page, the remaining CSS. And then we will go back to our very first one. And while we are doing this, we will be looking at some of the topics in the book. So I will see you guys at 7:30. Remind me to start the recording again. I'm just pausing it. Let me resume the recording and share the screen with you guys. And this is how far we came. So, is everybody back? Okay, we're missing Christian. Did he say anything? Or did he just sign out?
I think he ends up having a lot of internet issues and dropping in and out.
Oh, okay. Hmm. Yeah, I don't see any emails from him either, so probably it might be an internet issue. Okay. So we completed PC Styles 1, PC Styles 2, PC Home. We did complete PC reset, right? Okay. And we need to work on we did not do PC. Oh, we need to talk about the PC underscore home one, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's get started with the PC underscore home one, which is currently also, no, 1 second, not PC home, which one?
Info.
PC info, PC info, PC underscore info dot cs. Here we go. Okay, this guy, PC underscore info. Okay. Now in the PC underscore info, we have created each one of the info box to be absolute. What exactly is absolute versus relative? Absolute positioning and relative positioning are two ways of you creating floating items. Relative items are those items that do float in relative to other items around them. And absolute positioning, you can place item based on the top left corner, 0, 0 point. Because in computer science, the top left corner is 0, 0 point. And from there, you can, once the item is made absolute, means it is movable on the screen, you can then place that item anywhere from that location of 0, 0. So what we have done here is that the info box is each one of these pictures, all 8 of these pictures, they're all known by the class info box. So what we have done is, okay, what we have done is to make the info box position absolute, and then go to each one of the info boxes, which are known by the ID of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, make them block, means nobody can come on the same line as they are, right? And then move them, let's say 20 pixels away from the top and 5% away from the left. Then info 2, 185 pixels away from the top, 42% away from the left. So that's the placement. Like that, each one of the items is placed. So once you go back to your info and uncomment the PC info and refresh, you will be able to see these items placed. Okay. Now comes another question. Okay, I see that all these items are placed, but where in the world did I get the scroll bar? Okay, this is where you get the scroll bar from. Main. Who is main? Main is the name of the tag that holds all the divisions, which hold all the pictures. So what I'm saying is main tag overflow auto. What does that mean? That means main tag has a height of 450 pixels. If you have items more than 450 pixels of a height, then set an overflow, which means set a scroll bar. And this is positioned relative to the rest of the page. So of course, this whole section will only come after the items above it. And its width is 100%. Okay, so now what I would like you guys to do is maybe play around with some properties of info 1 through info 8, like change those numbers around a little bit to see how it impacts the output. So I'm going to give you guys maybe like 2-3 minutes to play around with these numbers to see, you know, which item it affects. And then we will resume after that.
So is there like a trick to knowing how many, pixels from the top and percent from the left to use to like place something? Like, is there
Remember,
a grid function or?
no, remember you set up your size to be 960 pixels total, right?
Yeah,
And the area for the main has to be within that range. So when you said my width for the main is 100%, you're pretty much saying that 100% of whatever that maximum is available to me from the body.
uh-huh,
So within that, you're just placing these items around.
okay.
So if you notice, all of these items are, none of these items are, I mean, like they can go down, like, because you never set the height. So like info 7 is 1000 pixels down, or info 8 is 1100 pixels down, right? But they're all within the same width of 100%. None of the width is over 100%.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, like when you're by width, I mean when you're displacing them left, you're not displacing anybody left more than 100%. I think the maximum you go is you're going is 75%, which is for display item 3. Once you guys are done with that, go to your book and go to the positioning objects topic, which is HTML 224. And I want you to read all the way through page, all the way through the topic of fixed and inherited positioning. Oh, sorry, page 230, using positioning styles. So read pages 224 through 230 in the book. Hi, Christian. Welcome back. Actually, I have asked everybody to read the pages 224 through 230 in the book. And we just wrapped up with understanding the pcinfo.css, which is the code that you guys already have in your solution. So that's what everybody's reading about from last 10 minutes. So soon we will be moving on to our next topic.
Sorry, what are we reading again?
I just put the pages in the chat
Got it.
about the positioning of the objects that we discussed right after the break. So for 10 some minutes, we had a discussion about positioning of objects. And now I'm asking everybody to read about that in the book.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And for those of you who get done with pages 224 through 230, learning about the positioning, move on to the next topic we also talked about in that example, which was about handling the overflow. That's page 240. I wrote that in the chat. So move on to the last topic of handling overflow, and then we will learn about the grids, which is the only topic left in the unit. So once you guys are done reading these topics, then give me a check. So I'm clearing the feedback for now till you guys are done with reading about both topics, positioning as well as overflow. There is another topic on page number 243, which is about clipping an element. So in CSS, you can actually crop an element or crop a picture based on the dimensions through the clip property. So clip property allows you, for example, you can call the built-in function rect to start drawing a rectangle from the top right, bottom left, which defines the coordinates on which it can clip. For example, the author is showing you that this is an image that will be clipped out of the original image when you give different numbers. So 100, 270, 260, and 65. So it is 100 and then followed by 270. Okay, so that's what, and then 260 and 65. So that's your clipping area. As a result, you will be able to come down those many pixels. So you are basically coming down from the top 100 pixels, and then you're moving to the right 270 pixels. So that's whether you are coming down and you are going 270 pixels down. And then from there, okay, you are going 65 pixels here, you're cutting from the left, and then you are then cutting 260 pixels from the bottom. And that's basically is the area that you are cropping. So this is your clipped image. So this is the clipping, which could also be used for clipping within the CSS rather than clipping outside. Then the next topic is about stacking elements. It is possible for you to lay one item on top of another, especially useful in animations when you're using JavaScript along with CSS and HTML, when you want to put elements on top of each other, and that's done with the help of the z-index property. The z-index property, you can give it a number. The lower the lower the number is in the layer. So anytime you see things getting layered up on a web page through HTML and CSS, it is done with the help of the z-index property. And JavaScript can make this dynamic. So you can dynamically change the z-indexing. So as you can see with this example, that the z-index 1 is at the bottom and z-index 2 is right in the middle, and z-index 3 is overlapping all three of them. So that basically how you can use the z-indexing. Again, I would like you to go and read about these two topics on pages 243 and 244. Oh, my bad. Sorry. I just saw your comment. Okay, so on page number 243 is basically the clipping of the image being talked about as to the 4 coordinates of the clipping when you are clipping a rectangle. And it talks about the top right, bottom left. Those are the 4 areas. So a clip of 100 pixels, 270 pixels, 260 and 65 defines a clipping region whose top and the bottom boundaries are 100 and 260. So the top is 100, okay? And the bottom is 260. But you can see that anything under 260 will be removed from the clipping. And then the left and the right and the left are 270 and 65, okay? So the right is 270, so that will be included, okay? And 65 from the left will be excluded. So this is the region that's left that will be clipped. So using the clip rectangle. And the other topic is stacking that I talked about. That z-index property allows you to give a numbered value, and that numbered value can be any number between 1 and up. The higher the number, the higher it is on the stack. The lower the number, the lower it is in the stack. And that's how you can stack items one on top of another. So that's pages 243 and 244. Oops, yeah. So read those two topics on pages 243 and 244. So we have Victor and Christian still working on it. Okay. So now I'm moving towards the last topic of this chapter, which is about introducing grid layouts. The grid layouts allow you to produce a grid-like look and feel in your web page. You may not be able to see an actual grid like an Excel worksheet, but the idea is very, very similar. So the whole idea of grid layout starts from your book page number 200, as you can see in the list of the topics here as well. So the whole idea of the grid is to be able to create a grid-like look and feel and then place the items accordingly. So here, as you can see in this example, that we build a column-like structure with grid columns and grid rows, and we can control the spacing in between as well. And the whole idea is to be able to then place items accordingly. So the page designer then arranges the page elements within the chosen grid, and then that's how you can put items in different places. Then comes the idea of a fixed versus fluid grids. Okay. In a fixed grid, the width of the columns and the margins are fixed in pixels. It doesn't matter how wide the page goes, you will only going to expand within. You're not going to go past that. On the other hand, the problem, of course, with a fixed grid is that it doesn't account for other screen sizes than the one that you have already defined. The fluid grid is in which the column widths are expressed in percentages rather than pixels. So it's easier for you to move things around based on the different screen sizes. Okay, so that's what it is basically. CSS provides several different frameworks for you to work with. And frameworks are defined as a software package that includes library of tools to do stuff. In this case, some of the frameworks could be the Bootstrap framework. I don't know if you've heard about that. You probably will if you didn't. YAML is similarly 960 grid system, Foundation 3, HTML5 boilerplate, skeleton. The three more commonly heard items are YAML, Bootstrap, and boilerplate. They are some of the frameworks that are used. While framework does a lot of work in building the grid, you still need to understand how to interact with the underlying code though. So that's why you need to be able to understand how it goes behind the scene. So in our case, for example, if there is a division class called row with a couple of columns, okay, so within the first column, we can have another class row with some more columns and another row with some more columns. So overall, if you look at it, the main row has two columns called column 1 and column 2. Column 1 has two rows. The first row has two columns, and so does the second row has two columns. So that basically creates a sort of kind of a grid like table look and feel. Similarly, the author says, how about if we have one big division called row in which we have one column, okay, and that column is then divided into rows. And then one of the rows is divided into 3 columns, and the other row is only divided into 1. So you can come up with your own gridding style, however you want your layout to be. So you can divide up your row, the whole area into rows, and each row into the X number of columns. You can set their percentages and everything else. So keeping that in mind, the author is now trying to apply some gridding styles to one of the pages that he created, which is, I think, about page. So let me pull up the about page here. About page. Okay, so let's go to the about page. In the about page, as we scroll down, you will see that from time to time, he introduces a class called row. And then he introduces some columns like column 1, 2. There are 2 of them that are like that. And then column 1, 3. There is a column 1, 3, which is like that. And then there is another implementation of class called row. So the author only works with 2 names, column 1, 2 name and column 1, 3 name, and they're inside a special class called row. So to work with the grid properties of these guys, the author created a special CSS document called grid.css. Let me make sure that we remove the comment out from the grid.css so that we're not running into the same problem that we ran a little while ago. Okay, so let's first remove the comment from the grids.css. And let's run the about page once more. Okay, that's basically how the output of about page looks like for now. And the whole idea of about page is to be turned into, let me show you how we want this to be actually the final output. No, not this one. This is. I'm trying to look for the image so that we can compare. Oh, here it is. Here it is. And this is figure 343. Look at the output of this one and compare that with what you have on your screen right now, which will be like this. Everything is flowing together in one long page. And with the help of the grid, the idea is to arrange it like this. So as you can see, our company, the image and some text underneath that will be at the top, just like that. Okay. Then what we will do is right below that, and also it is not going 100%. It is only going maybe like 60 some percent or 70%, something around that. Then FAQs will take over the entire space from the top to the bottom of the page. So FAQs will actually be lined up from here to the bottom. Okay. Then the about chocolate, that area is divided into 2 columns. So this about area, which is currently divided into 4 headings, will be divided into 2 columns. So that's basically how we will be controlling the output using grids. As you can see, we have 2 columns, right? And then the second column has a row, which is divided into a 2x2 grid. Does everybody follow that? Okay, so now let's go back to grids.css. And also let me bring up our page as we start to make changes. So grid row style. Division.row. First of all, I want to clear any kind of floating that's going around. So floating is cleared. Then division. I'm going to write some properties in the division. But I want to also teach you something. I don't know if you guys learn about that in tutorial number 2. Let's see. You might have. Did you guys learn about all these different symbols that you can use? Yeah, you did in tutorial number 2. That was figure 212. But I don't think so. Tutorial number 2 introduced this symbol. I'll introduce this symbol. Okay. So what you can do is, since you have several different divisions on the about page, my idea is only to work with some of the divisions, and only those divisions where the class has the word call. So I can do some pattern matching because I have divisions with class name row, and I also have some divisions with class name columns as part of the name. So what I can say is that, okay, I want to only work with those divisions where class starts with the word column followed by a hyphen and a square bracket, just like that. So it pretty much means that look for only those divisions which has a class that starts with the word column hyphen. So automatically the class row will be out the window, and any class that starts with column hyphen will automatically be the choice for this property. Did everybody follow that so far as to what that line means? Okay.
Quick question, just to
Hmm?
double check. So class and then the arrow upward,
This is called the caret symbol.
the caret symbol, and
Mhm.
then the equals symbol.
Mhm.
That just signifies that it starts with this.
Yep. So class starts with, follow the matching. Okay, so starts with matching this. So look for that matching in the name for any of the class for the tag division.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So what we want to do is we want all of them to float left. And the division with a class name 1, 2, let's say width of 100%. Let's see what we have class. Oh, we have 2, 3, and 1, 2. Okay. So let me do 1, 2, and let me do 2, 3. Column 2, 3. Okay. So for column 2, 3, I want to have 66.67%. For now, this is how far I am. So for column 2, 3, notice it is 66.67%. And for column 1, 2, it's 100%. So this is column 1, 2, that is 100%. Okay. If I reduce it to 50%, notice, oh, again, I have the same problem because it is the last item. That's why it is giving me a problem, because I have to use that clear bold, and I have to do the empty because it's a container collapse problem. Let me take care of that here. Division row after second. Oh, there's 1-3. Did I do for 1-3? Oh, I did not do it for 1-3. That's where the FAQ is. It's 1-3. Here we go. I was missing that. So this is, there's 1-2, which is 50%, which is this guy. Okay. No, that, so this is oh, okay. No, 2-3 is this guy, which is our company. This is 2-3, which is 66.67%, right? And then we have 1-3, which is 33.33%, which is this guy right here, the FAQ. So they both cover 100%. And all the 2-3s, oh, sorry, all the 1-2s are 50%. So how many 1-2s do I have? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So yeah, that's why each one of them takes up the 50% of the space that they have. Did you guys get that too? Victor and Christian, still working on it?
I'm all set. I'm actually gonna double check though.
Okay,
Yeah, mine looks the same.
okay, cool. We can also display grid. So let me try to all the divisions to have a bit of an outline so that you can see the gridding. And as you can see the gridding, and that's basically the layout is the marking.
Man, that's kind of ugly.
It is, but just to show you that where the grids are.
Do you have pesticide?
Pesticides. Why?
Like the application that you can download on your browser.
Oh, there's an application called pesticides.
Well, you thought I meant the actual.
I was like, okay, yeah. I didn't know that there was an application called pesticides. What does
Yeah.
it do?
It actually does just that. It here actually. Can I share my screen quick?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, can you start again, please? Sorry. So where did you click?
I
Oh,
clicked.
okay, in your extensions. Oh, yeah, okay. Aha. Cool. That's neat.
So I don't know. Is it the same as if you were to just put it in the?
Yeah, this pretty much only gave you the grid lines for the division, but the one that you are doing, it just puts grid line all over the site, all over the page, so that you can see where the containers are.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's pretty neat.
I was actually streaming on Twitch, and I was streaming just some programming that I was doing for the final project in internet programming, and some guy came on and he kind of was just helping me through it and showed me that that extension. It was super cool.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
That's why I love the Twitch community, especially the technology community they have.
Definitely just downloaded that.
It's super cool.
Pretty neat. Pretty neat. Yeah. Okay. So going back to your ebook. So in your ebook, the grids are talked about from pages 200 through 216. Okay. So, and that's towards the end, it talks about the outlining. You can have different kinds of outlinings that you can use. Okay. And I think on page number, past the outlining a grid, introducing CSS grids, where it goes about how you go about defining a grid and working with the sizing and everything else with it. So the gist of tutorial number 3 is the tutorial number 3 pretty much talks about creating a layout for your website. Now, when you are working with a particular website, for example, I don't know what Wendy gave you for today to work on your unit number 3. Tutorial number 3, you have your deliverables for tutorial number 3, which is an assignment where you are pretty much incorporating these things into your site that you're working with or page. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you assess your learning, complete a discussion board, answer these questions. What is the muddiest point for you in our learning so far? Okay. Why did you ask Saad to come in tutorial 3? I'm just kidding. So here, Wendy told me that to mention it to you guys, that don't forget to watch this video about CSS absolute versus relative positioning. So that's a video that you guys can watch in your free time. Oh yeah, these are some of the tutorials that I had for this particular tutorial, and that's it. Anyway, so do you guys have any questions so far?
Nope.
So there is,
I can't get my webpage.
oops, Victor, you're echoing too much. I could not hear you, understand you what you're saying.
I can't get my webpage to come up.
Which, I mean, like this example that we are doing, this one?
Yes.
I mean, nothing is showing up on your screen, or it is not matching mine?
It's not matching yours.
Okay, we can certainly look at your output as to you know where you are, and then we'll see how we can fix it.
Can I share my screen?
Yep.
Are you being abducted over there?
I think he is coming in through two different computers.
Sorry about that. I just turned off the other one.
Yeah, okay.
That's what an alien would say.
Exactly.
So you can, are you trying to share it from the other computer?
No,
Okay,
I'm gonna share this one now.
sure, go ahead, share it. Okay, can I see your output first, please? Oh, this is CSS page. Run your HTML page. No, run the about. And also, did you make any changes to reset and not save them? Because your reset, PC_reset, I see that it has a red floppy disk on it. Okay. And also PC styles 2 has a red floppy disk on it. It's next to reset. Okay. And let's run this one. Okay. That's how my output is too.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay. I probably, you know, those files were not saved. That's why it might be a little bit different.
Thank you, sir.
No problem, no problem. Okay. Now towards the end of your chapter or your tutorial, you guys usually have some case problems. What I basically tell people is that it's always a good idea to see these cases that gives you more than one way of thinking about solving problems. So there is a review practice assignment stuff, you know, how you can make changes around another look and feel for some of the pages. And then there's a case problem that shows you another look and feel of a site, which can be used because, you know, I don't know what your pages that you are modifying, and you will be modifying based on this week's tutorial, but this will give you some ideas as to how you can play around with a few things on your page. So this is one of the cases, and I think case number 2 is not that strong. It just pretty much show you another way you can arrange if you have any pictures and photos and stuff like that. Then you have case number 3, which is, of course, another way to arrange items. And what I think what the author did in this one is hover over with, you know, the hover over effect is basically what the author did in this example. And there is a case problem number 4. I don't think so. The author has given any visuals for this one. Right, okay. So, when you look at least the look and feel and maybe reading over a few steps into the tutorial gives you some ideas as to what else can be done. I think in problem number 3, the author is using the image map for hover over effect. But anyway, so next tutorial that you guys will be looking into next week will be about, again, improving the look and feel of your site with some graphic design techniques. So you are pretty much building a website which will help you look into the graphics aspect of the page. You'll be able to learn to work with images, how you can apply different kind of filters on images, how you can improve the look and feel of your site with graphics and pictures and the backgrounds, and improving the text look and feel, all sorts of stuff. So tutorial number 4 is also around the same line, teaching you about graphic design with CSS. Tutorial number 5 is very important because tutorial number 5 will teach you how you can take the same website and only with the help of CSS, make it ready for tablets, phones, large screens, computer screens, brailles. It will be the same website, but simply by using different CSS documents, you can make that website act differently on different mediums. Even you might have seen that sometimes you're looking at a website and then you just go to the default print option. Your page doesn't comes out the way you want it to be. And the site recommends that if you want to print this page, click the print button that we are providing you with. So sometimes what they do is when you click that print button, it take away a lot of the CSS that they did only for screening and only give you that CSS that meant for printing. So you can actually change the look and feel of your website entirely just for printing. So all of that stuff will be then tackled within tutorial number 5. Some very cool stuff coming forward before you dive into tutorial 6, where we learn about tables and columns and stuff like that. Okay. Anyway, I'll stop sharing here. I'll stop